seems like there's a lack of diversity here today, that it's mostly people who look like you and I.
Alright guys, welcome back to this channel and I hope you are all doing good. You know what started as a simple question quickly turned into a heated confrontation that no one saw coming. A white man publicly called out black Americans, questioning their absence at the No Kings protests. But within moments, the situation flipped and the backlash was instant, it was loud and impossible to ignore. So guys, let me roll these clips. I'll be coming back with more commentaries, and in case of any thoughts, kindly feel free to let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, stay tuned.
It is not for black people, for people of color to get out on the street. They're at risk when they do that. If anybody's going to get arrested here, it's going to be a black person. It is not safe for them, and they don't need to participate. We need to walk in their name.
Gotcha. Okay.
That is basically a valid point to make about the whole King thing. Here's a question that I saw, did not realize until it hit the news a lot, was that it was very white. What do you make of that? That the guy in Baltimore, the paper there said, we struggled our photographer to find a picture of black people in this march. I'm okay with that. I didn't go, and I feel like, well, you talk. Well, we had a meeting. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. And let's just say it didn't go too well for white folks, that's all.
It's okay. Well, okay. What do you think about voter ID? Do you think it's racist?
It's 100% a tactic to control the population and prevent people from voting, so that the only votes so that the gerrymandering can work, so that white voters can vote in white Christian males.
Have you been voting blue most of your life?
I voted blue in the womb.
Photographer and media source outlets were purposely looking for black people because they want a reason to demonize black people. They want to report back to their media source and slap on the title that said, "Black violence is at it again." Then jot down some bullshit in an article about how black people are barbarian and uncivilized. They wanted to declare that protest as an act of violence and a riot, and the fact that black people wasn't there, they cannot declare it as such. But because there were only white people there protesting, they can't spin it, because white people in America are seen as non-violent and civilized. The fact is, there was violence that happened at the No Kings protest, but the media never reported it because black people wasn't there. There was some violence in Detroit with Andre Williams, because apparently white people was putting their hands on him and calling him slurs. However, the media never reported that either because it contradicts what they're looking for. But I got curious about something. I took a step into that No Kings protesting, and I wanted to see how they were treated. There were no military and there were no officers during that whole time of the No Kings protest. Why? Because there were no black people. There are FBI agents, police officers, photographers, media outsourcers who are out there plotting and scheming, looking for black people because they want to spin this story as much as they possibly can. And the only way for them to get any type of headline is to have a black person in the title. They can't have a black person in that title if black people wasn't there. I love the protest because I can't be there right now. Even if I wanted to be there, even if I could be there, what would that solve? What could that do? The truth of the matter is this: protesting isn't going to do a damn thing to change this country, because what people should have done was vote responsibly. They should have voted left, and everything that is happening within the United States wouldn't have happened in the first place. People will still have food stamps and SNAP. People will still have health care. People will still have their programs funded. Black universities and other PLC universities, that is along with Asian and Hispanic and Latino universities, wouldn't have been defunded either. Documented and undocumented immigrants wouldn't be forcefully removed without the proper procedure. There would be peace in this nation and potentially overseas. But because so many people didn't want to vote for a mixed woman, a black woman, a woman in general, we are where we are today because of their vote. I'm gonna keep saying this: protesting, debates, having a conversations, holding them accountable, taking them to court, it's not going to do shit. Black people know this very well. True freedom does not come peacefully, and until people understand that.
Bill Maher made a point to say that he spoke to photographers that attended the No Kings Day protests, and these photographers said to him that they really struggled to find pictures of black people in attendance. Why is that? Why are photographers looking for black people to be in attendance at the No King's Day protests? Folks, we've known what this has been about. We've known what all of this has been about since Election Day. We all knew what time it was. And we knew that stepping back and allowing the rest of the country to fight this battle was the right decision. Because if you read Project 2025, if you read any piece of Project 2025, you knew they were looking to come after our community. And while so many other communities are proving to be collateral damage right now, they are also suffering at the hands of these people right now. Their goal, their end game, the last infinity stone to what they need to accomplish relies on the presence of black people. It hasn't even been a year since that election took place. And now you literally have someone like Bill Maher on his show speaking to someone like Michael Steele on HBO about the fact that can't nobody find us. Folks, if you have any knowledge of media, especially in America, especially at the highest levels of media, that means this conversation is happening in the boardrooms of some of the most powerful people on the planet. A lot of the people that probably have their hands in what's going on with this government are clearly looking for any way to get black people involved. But we haven't, and it actually confuses them. They're holding case studies on live television, trying to figure out what it's going to take to get us into this fight.
This country will never be free because everything that the Trump administration has done was nothing but violence towards the American people. I'm done.
We struggled our photographer, to find a picture of black people in this march. I'm okay with that. I didn't go, and I feel like, well, you talk. Well, we had a meeting. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. And let's just say it didn't go too well for white folks, that's all.
Why the fuck were y'all looking at black people to be at the No Kings protest? We literally let the people them know before the election what the fuck was going to happen. We knew about Project 2025 and y'all thought we was just yapping. And the reason y'all thought we was just yapping because motherfuckers did not expect for the suffrage to be passed black people and immigrants. So now that people see that the suffrage is...
The No Kings protest turned out millions of people across the world. That's a big, big deal. But what the were y'all protesting for? No Kings? What were your demands? What were you asking of the governments in all these countries? What were you asking for? This is why black people sit there. A lot of black people sat out and looked at y'all like y'all was crazy because y'all showing up in droves with signs and everything. Great. But what were you asking for? What was the point? What? To just show up in droves and march and say, we don't want a king, we don't want fascism, we don't want this? What was the directives behind it? When black people marched for George Floyd, we wanted police reform. We made that very clear. We made our demands very clear. Ahmaud Arbery, we made that very clear. Breonna Taylor, very clear. Tamir Rice, very clear. Trayvon Martin, very clear. Voting rights, marching on Selma, very boycott for the butt, very clear. This is why we look at y'all like y'all crazy, because y'all really thought y'all did something. These people that y'all fighting against, they really don't give a fuck about those numbers. They look at that shit and they be like, oh, it's a little scary, but they're just going back to their regular shit after. There's no demands. Y'all made no fucking demands. Everybody's marching in their own cities, in their own countries.
As you continue watching, guys, we are getting from this information and reactions that there was this heated moment that is unfolding as this white man publicly called out black Americans, questioning their absence from the No Kings protests. And also what happens next is something he clearly did not expect. The response is swift, the response is powerful, and sparks a massive backlash across social media. So guys, that's why I decided to make this video, so that we can be able to break down the confrontation, the reactions, and the deeper conversation about activism, about representation, and the complex dynamics within modern protest movements. Why were Black Americans being singled out, and why did this moment ignite such a strong response? Guys, just watch until the end as we continue to unpack the full story, the reactions from the community, and what this says about unity, about accountability, and the current social climate. Just join the conversation in the comments. What are your thoughts on this situation? Let's get into these remaining clips, and I'll be back.
Anyone who doubted that we made the right decision should be paying attention to that conversation, because I believe it highlights that we are connected to something very spiritual that they want access to. They've wanted access to it for a long time. They need it right now, and they cannot.
Countrywide, and not just race and immigrant wide. Now you looking for us to motherfucking be out there with y'all? Nah. Especially not the 92%. Nah, we chilling. That's not to say that we don't give a fuck about what happens to this country. It's to say that the people who were out there marching didn't give a fuck about what happened to this country. What do you guys think about this video? Leave me a comment. Let's talk about it. And don't forget to hit the follow button. Toodles.
Yes, guys, there we are. You know what really happened? You know that this during this public discussion surrounding the No Kings protests, this white man steps forward and raising a question that immediately catches people's attention. He is asking that where are Black Americans? That why aren't they showing up in large numbers? He is asking why the silence. And at first, it sounds like curiosity, maybe even concern. But the tone and the context quickly made people very much uncomfortable. Yes. Because for many, this was not just a question. It felt like an accusation. Like blame was being placed on an entire community without understanding the full picture. And that's when things started to shift. People began pushing back, voices rose, and what followed was a powerful wave of response that challenged the very premise of this question. Black voices were everywhere, both online and on the ground, and they responded almost immediately. Some pointed out that activism does not always look the same for every group. Others questioned why Black Americans are often expected to show up for every cause, while their own struggles are sometimes overlooked. And then came the deeper response, a reminder that participation is a choice, not an obligation. And no community should be singled out or pressured into proving their presence. Yes, so this moment is sparking a much bigger question, or a much bigger conversation. I'd rather say that it is raising questions about solidarity. What does it really mean? Is it mutual, or is it sometimes one-sided? So it also touched on history, it touched on trust, and on the reality that not every movement resonates the same way with every community. And for some, the issue was not just what was said, but who was saying it and the weight that comes with it. So as this backlash grew, it became clear that this was not just about one man's question anymore. It had turned into a broader reflection on expectations, on accountability, and respect between different groups navigating social change. Yes, and in that moment, many people felt that a line had been crossed. And in the end, what we are witnessing is not just a confrontation. It is a clash of perspectives. Yes. And you know, this is a reminder that conversations around activism, conversations around race and unity are layered. They are complex and they are often emotional. And sometimes a single question can open the door to much deeper truths. Yes. What do you think about this situation? Was the question fair or was the backlash justified? Just drop your thoughts in the comments, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more real conversations and breakdowns like this one. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of the video. In this video, it's meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. Thank you so much. Be blessed. Peace be with you. Until the next one.